What's going on, everybody? Good morning and welcome. Today is Monday. It's October 3rd, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Good morning to Nathan and Mark and Frank and Dennis and Liz and all the rest of you out there, whether you're watching live later or listening. Thank you for coming by. How are you? Happy Monday. I hope you have some great things on tap. I had a wonderful weekend. I'll tell you about it. Got a rather straightforward Monday ahead of me, at least for the workday. And see where that takes us. I know Frank sent over some stuff. I'm running a little bit behind here. Didn't get a chance to look at it yet because the computer was like, hey, I don't know where your camera is. So I didn't. When you get dialed in, having an extra minute or two thrown into the mix that you weren't expecting puts you behind. But I always try to start on time. It doesn't always happen, but I usually do. So I'll be doing double duty here for a moment. This past weekend was a very busy weekend. I spent Friday night prepping to help out at an event on Saturday. We can now add to my resume, I catered a breakfast. It was a very simple breakfast, but I did all of it. Did the whole thing by myself, carrying, prep, setup, purchasing, manning the coffee. It was a lot of work, but it seemed like I did a good job. So I'm proud of myself there. And then yesterday was at a tournament in, we'll call it Southern Vermont, refereeing, seeing people I haven't seen in forever. It was a nice time. Oh, this is a great one you picked, Frank. Come on. Trying to get there. All right, cool. Now I finally switch back here. It takes forever. Good morning, Brian. So I'd love to know what you did this weekend, especially if it had something to do with martial arts. I don't know what you got going on today. Today, we have a new episode of Martial Arts Radio. We'll talk about that in a moment. And other than that, I've got meetings and work and should be able to call it a day at a reasonable time because I am exhausted. I was in bed at 8 yesterday. I was in bed at 9 the day before. I think 8:30 Friday night. I'm tired. I'm fried. Been putting in a lot of work. So, you got to rest. And I was resting. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Stacy. So this tournament had a lot of fun. Some people I haven't seen in literally years. And that was always cool. And refereeing is always an adventure. If anybody's ever had the opportunity to be a set referee, you understand. Because they're curveballs thrown away. You get a sparring division, one person. And you got a few options, but what we ended up doing, we just threw, it was like, okay, 11 and 12-year-olds, all right, we're going to get you and you and you. And I ran around getting permission from parents. I was like, I want to bump this person up to the next, to spar with the more advanced people. And everybody's like, yeah, do it, it's fine. And we had a great time. There were people all over the place and had actually an exciting sparring division, the novice, even though we broke it out separately for purposes of points in the arc of the division. The newest student, the yellow belt, came in second place, including there were red belts and brown belts, blue belts, green belts, a bunch of people in there, and he came in second, and everybody was kind of pumped about that. Brian says, a lot of us completed our 21st day, our third week of our daily forms challenge. Pretty excited about that personally. That's awesome. That's something Andrew's running, which is great. I'm not participating because I'm actually not participating in something. Shocker, right? Stacy's agreeing with me. You do have to rest. Part of why I took off the end of last week. And Jenny says, my week will have a good amount of writing in it, then doing some prep for 2023 tours. Sweet deal. Oh, Frank, you're too funny. I drank so much coffee on Saturday. Did I even have? I did have lunch. I didn't have breakfast. I just drank coffee until about 12:30. I was kind of wired. We had some great presenters at this conference. Any of you who follow, his name's Maddie, but most people know him as the Unnecessary Inventions guy. He's actually from Burlington, and he was a surprise speaker at this conference. So it was super cool. And he said it was the first time he ever gave a presentation like that. He's brilliant. That man truly is brilliant. The way he sees the world and his ability to put things out there. He's in my mind, he's kind of a functional comedian, right? Like he sees things that are funny and he observes them and he makes a social commentary about it and makes a product. If you're, Dennis says it's very lonely on Twitch. Sorry, bud. If you haven't seen him, if you haven't seen his stuff, go check it out. Unnecessary Inventions. I was pretty impressed. We definitely got a frost. I see some frosty grass out there. What else happened yesterday? What else did I see of interest? I was giving some feedback on forums to some older kids, 15, 16-year-old kids. And I'll share it here too. We've talked about this on the show a bunch of times, but quite often people throw all of their techniques in the same way. Same timing, the same intent, the same level of power, the same spacing in between it and the next movement. They leave it out for the same amount of time. It's very robotic. It's okay. But when you start to mix at least some of those things up, it makes a really big difference. If you think about the application of a form or what's exciting for you to do the form or anything else, and you allow those things to vary a bit, it's not only more exciting to do, it's more exciting to watch. And this was something that, how old was he? He was probably 14 or 15. Technically, very good. But there was no space between his movements. He rushed from one to the next. And so we talked about that in a few different ways. And finally, he was starting to get it. And he said, how do I know when I'm doing this right? And I said, you'll feel it. It will feel good. That's the best explanation I can give. Because it's somewhat of an advanced concept. And other people might have better ways of describing that. But to me, it's such an individualized thing. Now, we did ultimately on Thursday get out that video of Tony Blauer and I talking about self-defense stuff. I don't know how many of you have watched the video versus listened to the audio. There are some episodes we put out that I would call must listen or must watch, and that was one of them. It is an important conversation about an important subject, and I can think of no one better than Tony to talk to about the things that we talked about. Good morning, Andy. Have a great day. Yeah, some of you are still trying to get going on Twitch, and I appreciate that. Just looking for a few of you to do double duty for a couple of weeks, and that should, fingers crossed, get us over the hump there. Now, I did say it's Monday, and that means that there's some martial arts radio. Let's see if it's here yet. It is not up yet, but it will be. Who is it? Let me look. Let me go. Oh, something not really related to martial arts, but if you've been around a while, you know I like plants, like the fact that there's a sunflower I grew sitting next to me. I was at this event in Burlington, and if you know geography even mildly, you know that Burlington is north and gets cold. And there were these plants that were very clearly tropical-esque around this event center. Stacy's, I'm going to guess the only one who knows the facility, but it was at Main Street Landing, which to anybody else, Brian says frost on my car, BS. To anybody else who might be in the area, the building in Burlington that Skinny Pancake is in, it's that building. And around there are all these big, like large purpley plants. And I was like, what the heck is this? How does it survive winter? And so I actually downloaded one of those plant identification apps. It's a tropical banana. It's this particular variety is cold hardy banana. And we're stretching it by having it here, but apparently those roots are deep enough and mulched well enough, it can survive. So guess what? I'm going to be planting some cold hardy bananas next summer. All right, that's not the right thing at all. We're going to here, and we're going to here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and Tim's piece. We're going back. Nope. When did I record this? Almost 2 months ago. That's why. I recorded this 7 weeks ago. I don't remember. I remember having a nice time. You know why I remember having a nice time? Because I always have a nice time. I always enjoy talking to these guests. Maybe there's something in this document. Nope, you'll just have to check it out and go, oh, this was cool. This is the challenge of doing 4 in a day. I love what I do. And I think logistically, this is what we have to do. But unless we have a way of me getting notes together, which I'll be honest, do we need that? Do we need that for this show? Most of you listen to every episode of Martial Arts Radio anyway. If you don't, that's okay. You don't have to. All right. I'm going to look at my calendar real quick and just see, is there anything else of adventurous report to let you know is happening? That's not going to go well. Well, I got a number of things going on. Okay, this will be a good day. Bunch of meetings and whatnot. What I said wasn't going to go well. I've got a client that we had a meeting a month ago, and I said, we need a deadline to finish your website. Anything you get me by this date, we will call part of the project that we started over a year ago, and I'm going to bill out the second half. And the client said, that's totally fine. I get it. I haven't received anything. Yep, a little bit anxious about that. Hey, look at all these people. Frank, always the jokester. It'll be interesting to see if growing those in that harsh climate will drive him bananas. I don't know. Depends on how expensive they are. But they're beautiful plants. These large, purple, big plants. Apparently, they don't produce bananas that you can eat. But that's okay. Bunch of people on Twitch now. All right. You guys are funny. I'm going to focus here for a moment. You're distracting me in the best possible way. All right. So Frank sent over some stuff, and I'm going to share it, and then we're going to talk about it. Because I actually have some things to say about this. So Saturday, was, if I remember correctly, Itmon's birthday, but it was also International Coffee Day. And if you know me, you know I love my coffee. I didn't have any coffee yesterday, not one drop. I had a cup of tea in the morning and I spilled most of it. And that was the only caffeine I had all day. And I was fine. No headaches, no withdrawals. Always nice to double check that. I had so much coffee on Saturday. I was like, I don't think I need any more. Don't, and we got some quotes here. Number one, don't ever let anyone tell you that fairy tales aren't real. I drink a potion made from magic beans every day, and it brings me back to life. Nanea Hoffman. I don't know who that is. Do you guys know who that is? I do love coffee. It's pretty great. When I made the coffee on Saturday, I even brought up a little thing of salt. And every time I made a batch, I sprinkled a little bit of salt in there. And I have to say, despite being these large canisters of Costco coffee, which, you know, it's decent coffee, the coffee came out great. Very, very good. Quite pleased with myself, as evidenced by the fact that people were drinking it like crazy. How many of you drink coffee? And how about this? How many cups of coffee do you drink in a given day? I drink 4. This French press that I use is about 4 cups. Actually, it's probably closer to 5. It's a liter. So it's, what's that, 30 ounces-ish, 33 ounces. And a cup is considered 6. And these mugs are 8. So I have like I have 4 of these. So 32 ounces. So technically that's 5 cups. A cup of coffee versus a cup of 8 ounces. Yeah. Imperial units. Zed says 4 to 5. Dennis has 1 to 2 tops. I'm definitely drinking more. I'm drinking your share too, Dennis. Keep chiming in. Coffee and chocolate. The inventor of mocha should be sainted. Cherise Sinclair, Hour of the Lion. The easiest thing, and I actually did this on Friday. I didn't tell you about it, but I will put like a tablespoon of powdered baking chocolate in with the coffee grounds. Comes out great. If it's because I'm doing it in a French press, right? If you were using a filtered coffee maker, put it in the carafe, the pitcher. It'll dissolve, swirl it around, and it's just enough chocolate flavor that it's really good. Powdered cocoa without sugar added to it, it's pretty much just fiber. There's not much to it, but it adds a decent amount of flavor. Mixes it up. Stacy says, 1 16-ounce coffee at work on arrival, sometimes tea, sometimes coffee. Frank says 0. Jenny says no coffee, although now that it is pumpkin spice season, I will likely make 1 pot of pumpkin spice coffee to enjoy because autumn tastes amazing. Liz says 2 cups, but I usually abandon my morning coffee somewhere in the house when I get busy. Mark does 4. And Zed says, I teach middle school. So 4 to 5 is necessary. I believe it. One of the people helping at the event on Saturday is a high school teacher. And I talked to him briefly after the event. He stayed up till 4 in the morning grading papers so he could come for the day. I was like, that is dedication to 2 things. I understand what that dedication is like. And it reminded me, I never want to be a school teacher. I don't want to grade papers. Ugh, brutal. No, I don't think I would do well with that. And our last one, and some of you have this on a mug. Some of you have seen me with one of our limited edition first cup mugs, and this quote is on it, which I'm sure Frank chose it. Coffee is a language itself. Jackie Chan. Coffee is interesting because it is very clearly a drug. Caffeine is a drug. Caffeine satisfies all the conditions of it being a drug. You know, it's addictive. It changes your mental state. Coffee and caffeine specifically also qualify as nootropics. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. Nicotine qualifies as a nootropic. Basically, anything that changes or can change cognitive performance. Most people aren't going to smoke a cigarette to do work, but there are actually a lot of nicotine lozenges, gum, toothpicks, etc., that were originally designed for people to quit smoking, and others will use them as mental stimulants. Once in a while, I have when my father passed away, and I went through all of his things, he stocked up on nicotine gum. There is so much nicotine gum in there, and once in a while, I will have half of one if I have something that like my brain's not quite where I need it to be, and it's not something I'm going to abuse because it tastes horrible. It is one of the worst tasting things. It's gross, but it's incredibly effective. What are some of the others that people use now? There are a bunch of others that are kind of weird. A lot of them are amino acids. I've told you that I put theanine, L-theanine, in my coffee because it changes the way my body metabolizes coffee. It doesn't quite count as a nootropic, but it's something that has been absolutely game changing for me. My body doesn't grab all the caffeine at once; it slows it down, and it works really well. Fat also has a similar property, which is why I do both. Once in a great while, I will get through this pot of coffee and say, I need more. And I usually talk myself into tea at that point, but I won't lie. There have been times I've done both. I've had 2 liters of coffee. I don't usually drink all of the second one, but I didn't realize it at the time in college, my freshman year of college, because I hit the ground running. I did everything on campus. Shocker, right? I had a 20-ounce travel mug that I brought from home, and I drank it at breakfast, and I filled it up before my first class, and I usually had another one at lunch. That's 60 ounces of coffee. That's just shy of a half gallon. I did that every day. Not only did I put on the freshman 15, my nervous system was like, meh. I was wired. And so that summer, I restricted myself in terms of what I ate, and I limited myself to 1 soda a day. I knew soda wasn't good for me, but I was working at a restaurant, and it was easier than coffee, and they didn't want us drinking the coffee. Anyway, I dialed back. I love caffeine. I don't get withdrawals. I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate. How about you guys? Anybody out there caffeine withdrawals? Stacy says, Dennis, you're not needing coffee to get you going clearly. Woo. And Dennis responds, woo. Hey there, see? My throat's warmed up. I'm awake. I can kind of woo. Not quite the same way. And there's Liz. I feel like we have a side story going on Twitch. What else? I think the only other thing to say before we start to fade here. Oh, Mark gets headaches. Yeah, it's rough. I've experienced the symptoms that other people talk about, but like when I'm sick or whatever, migraines. I know what. Well, I can't say no because it's for different reasons, but I suspect I know what caffeine withdrawal feels like, and I'm lucky. When it comes to caffeine, I am psychologically addicted to it, but I fight that once in a while. Kind of the same thing with alcohol. Like I'll just go cold turkey and just say I want to remind myself what it's like to do without this for a while, and I do just fine. Oh, and I've got Dennis's sign off. He says that was a mighty fine woo, Jeremy. Well, thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it. Okay, so the last thing, yesterday bumped into a number of people at the tournament that I was not expecting to bump into, which was great. Kelly was there. I didn't see her till the end of the day. Somehow she was hiding from me. She wasn't actually hiding from me, but I didn't see her till the end of the day. So it was great to see her, and saw a number of people who knew about Free Training Day, people who have never been to Free Training Day, people who are coming and bringing their students. And I put posters up around the facility, in the bathroom, near the bathrooms, out in a couple other spots, just to say, hey, you should come to this. If you are not planning to attend any of the Free Training Days, I would encourage you. It is not too late. It will be, might be a little late if you're not already planning on getting to Atlanta or Portland, Oregon. We've got 2 and 3 weeks, just under 2 and 3 weeks respectively. But November 12th for the event in Keene, New Hampshire. There are still VIP bundles to purchase. You are right on the line for buying a shirt for Atlanta or Portland to have it shipped to you in time. But you definitely still have time for Keene. And I hope to see as many of you there at any of them as possible. To my knowledge, there is only one other person who will be attending more than one. I won't tell you who that is. For some of you already know, and the rest of you, it might be a surprise. But I'm hoping there are surprises. I'm expecting there will be some surprises. There's some great people coming to these events. You know that I love them. And excuse me. We'll see where it takes us. So go check out today's episode of Martial Arts Radio. Let it motivate you for your day. So, okay, Tim Spees. And tell me what you like about it. I'm going to have to remind myself what we talked about. I mean, obviously we talked about him. It's his journey. And that's honestly probably a big part of why I have a challenge with remembering these episodes, because I've done a lot of them. I've heard a lot of stories, and I'm a participant more so than a listener. Of course, if you want to support Whistlekick and First Cup and Martial Arts Radio and all the things that we do, Patreon is the number one thing that I would ask you to do. We also have the code FirstCup15 to save 15% on just about anything at whistlekick.com. For example, all-in weekend teacher training, those events are not available for discount because we run them at such a tight margin and at a low price. We are not discounting those. But anything else is available. And don't forget the swag packs. I haven't made swag packs in a while, and I have new stickers over there that I would love to put in somebody's swag pack. Locally made. Here, hold on. I'm going to show you. So this ended up, I didn't even realize it. This ended up being a Burlington company that made these. You see? They're a little bit holographic. They're cool. I like them. So I've got, 50 of those, 75 of those. Order a swag pack. You'll probably get one. Tell you what, if you order one of those, I'll guarantee you'll get one. Okay. And First Cup, the only martial arts morning show, live 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Those of you who are doing double duty, who are watching on Twitch to help us get over that hump, greatly appreciate it. I will keep you notified as to when we get there. If you want one of the easiest things you can do that will help us dramatically, it's that. I don't know what's on the other side of Twitch for us, but there's something there, and I want to get there. So please and thank you. And I'm going to go. There we go. Stacy says, holographic swag pack order coming in. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you coming by, watching, hanging out, drinking something, coffee, tea, whatever you got. And that takes us to the end. So I will see you back here tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Peace.